A demonstration of the resuscitation exercise by newly trained soldiers of 2 Brigade Nigerian Army. This is what the graduation ceremony of the brigade cadre for regular recruit intake soldiers in Abonima, Rivers State looks like. The exercise involves sea survival demonstrations in a crisis situation to prepare the men for the challenges in their peculiar environment. The terrain in the riverine communities presents its own security challenges, and according to the 2 Brigade Nigerian Army, the watermanship exercise is to prepare its men to deal with the security challenges in the creeks and bring safety and security to the people in the community. Residents in the community say security around the creeks is a concern to the people.
We are urging federal government, corporate bodies to make sure that they finance the military to stand up for their duty so that they will salvage us from this mess.
Attention then shifts to Harristown for the watermanship demonstration. Commander 2 Brigade believes the Army is currently faced with challenges that require regular training for their officers.
Let me remind you that the Nigerian Army is facing a great deal of challenges, and we can only overcome these challenges through regular training. The challenges of terrorism and insurgency in the northeastern part of the country has brought to the fore the need for training in order to improve on the achievement recorded so far. Additionally, the dynamics of our society today places a heavy demand on the Nigerian Army to be more professional in the discharge of its responsibilities.
The terrain in the Niger Delta and the area of responsibility of 2 Brigade, it's riverine. And in the course of discharging our responsibilities, we have to operate in the riverine environment. Most of these young soldiers are coming from places that have never seen water before, but at least you saw all of them participate, and we believe that it will really assist in the discharge of our responsibilities.
As these young soldiers seem set to get into the fray of real-life battles, the Army is expected to keep up with the fight against elements that threaten the nation's security. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
Welcome back to Sunrise Today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Abuja. Well, we apologize that Brigadier General Paul Boroh will not be able to join us. He's currently under the weather and concerns to him. Well, now we're joined by Owe Lakemfa, who is the spokesperson of the federal government's amnesty program. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's the complaints that make the rounds about this program. First, maybe you should give us the current situation. We understand it's going to wind down. And many wonder, why should they wind down? If it winds down, what about they who are already on the program? Will they automatically be cut off if the program winds down?
Well, the program cannot last forever, so it must have a time frame and a time limit. So what we've done is to have a 2-year program so that can wind down. Now there are those who are in school who might be affected. So we have to take a special consideration for them and ensure that nothing goes wrong. And also there are, of course, about 13,000 people who are yet to be trained, or giving starter packs for them to start their own businesses. We also have to think about that. So it's a race against time, actually, but there must be a terminal date.
But what about those? How are you accommodating their concerns?
Well, we are accommodating their concerns, and the government is interested in ensuring that everybody is trained and giving starter packs. But of course, there are also budgetary constraints, which I think the government is looking into.
What are the starter packs about?
Well, starter pack is that when you train a person, you may not get a job, so you have to start him off. So you have to empower him or her. Assuming you set up somebody, you train somebody, maybe a fashion designer. You might have to assist that fashion designer to get machines and basic equipment so that they can just start off and employ themselves and also others so as to ensure that there is peace in Niger Delta.
But we've seen, you know, in recent times, disruptions again. People are still vandalizing their pipelines. Would you say that it would be wise for the amnesty program to wind down now that, you know, we still have these issues?
The issue of vandalization is about criminality. And whether you have the amnesty program or not, they are likely to be criminals. Not just in Niger Delta, you find it in Arepo, you find it in Ikorodu, you find it in various parts of the country. So it's a different matter. However, the amnesty program is designed to ensure that we have peace in the Niger Delta region, so that other developmental programs can, you know, take off. So everything I'm sure will be done by the government to ensure that everybody under that program, and there are 30,000 people who were, you know, captured under that program, that they are, you know, sustainably integrated as to be on their own and to find criminality or return to the creeks, you know, unattractive.
So if you say 2 more years to go, how much more do we have to wind down?
Yeah, about 23 months.
About 23 months.
Yeah.
And for those in schools or going through some other training outside the country, would they have been done with their training, all of them by then?
Most of them, yes.
Most?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean all?
No, not all. That means that if there are people who have, assuming you have a 5-year program, and the program is winding up in the next 2 years, it means that some arrangement will have to be done, some upfront payment will have to be done to ensure that your education is not disrupted in any way.
Well, I understand that the Amnesty Office moved to the Niger Delta owing to this increased cases of pipeline vandalism. How is that helping?
Well, it helped a lot because when it started and we moved down, we were able to talk to various people, to traditional rulers, youth leaders, you know, former militant leaders, and you know, it stopped at that point. Because you see, the thing about vandalization, it only affects the government or the Nigerian people, it also affects the community. Because the communities are then, you know, environmentally, they are, you know, there's a problem there, and they can also do their fishing and farming. So it makes a lot of sense. It's logical that there must be no vandalization. It doesn't make sense, because when you spill things like that, everybody's in trouble. So and they understood that message very well.
Is the Amnesty Office still in touch with all militant, ex-militant leaders, all of them?
Yes, we are. Because we, in working with the ex-militants, we have to walk through their leaders also. So we are in touch with everybody, all the leaders.
Because some of them claim they don't get their entitlements and payments.
No, there's none, you know, that claim cannot be made. Now you find that, yes, the issue of our budget, you know, being signed and other things affected us a bit. But, you know, government released some funds and the people are paid as of January, everybody is paid. And for the students, some of them are paid up to February. Because we, apart from paying their school fees for the session, which has been done, we also have things like in-training allowances, which you have to pay. And it's been paid up, yes.
So when you have your interaction with them, what's the vibe you get concerning some form of renewed violence or attacks on installations, especially oil installations in the region?
No, but I don't think anybody is interested in that because it doesn't make sense. It's not logical at all. So all the people who are under the amnesty program, they are not involved in those things.
But we have been told that one of the reasons why electricity supply has dipped in recent times is because of, you know, vandalization on some of the pipelines, especially the Focados pipeline, which made even an oil major declare force majeure only recently. I'm just wondering though, some people have criticized the rhetoric of the president in terms of dealing with the vandals. Some people say, you sure that will help? How is the Amnesty Office showing that, look, we mean well, but we're saying that criminality must stop?
Well, when we moved in, we were able to talk to everybody concerned, and they were quite convinced that you don't need to vandalize anything. And I think the Focados thing has been put back in place.
Did the community people show any concern?
Of course, because they're affected directly. When you vandalize the pipeline on a particular farm, the farm becomes useless. Rivers become useless.
Were they worried about the president's statement that they were going to move away against vandals?
The president's statement was recent, and it has to do with criminality. It's not about amnesty. Yeah.
They didn't have any reaction to that?
No, it's not about reacting individually or collectively. It's, you know, first, we must agree that we cannot go about destroying our own property. And so if we agree, and we also know that if we destroy it, it will affect the environment itself. So it's logical that it shouldn't go on.
Were they, some people said that the communities, I mean, we've heard the military say in past times that we will hold the communities responsible. How did they react to that? Were they helpless, or was it that there was nobody to report to? Were they in support of what was going on in their communities?
Well, you know this whole issue about vicarious liability is not something you can push really, and so everybody gets to understand it. Of course, there are initial anger when these things, when the pipes are busted. You know, you have initial anger, but common sense then prevails generally.
What is the common sense right now?
Common sense that it doesn't make sense.
Well, maybe that's not common, but the special advisor spoke some time ago about the way forward, and I think the theme of his paper was from stabilization to sustainability. But for those who see this program as keeping those, or at least preventing vandalism from going on, when the program exits, what mechanism will be in place to maintain that dialogue, to ensure that, no, you're not forgotten, but don't go ahead violating or vandalizing any of government facility?
Well, the first thing is that once people are successful, integrated sustainably, it means that you have a job and you have workers under you, you have a family to take care of. That becomes a primary concern and not about attacking anything. So everybody has a buy-in.
But we know that many at this point are seeking more jobs.
Well, the whole issue about that is that I think on the long run, first is that in having the amnesty program, we now have direct contact with all the leaders. But I must say that it is possible for you to have new leaders in mind later, but we're in contact with the communities and the leaders. And the vibe we get from those communities, and we actually traveled around meeting all traditional leaders you can think of in that area, including the Olu of Warri and the leaders everywhere. People are tired of violence. People want development. Even the ex-agitator wants to be out there, in his community, in the streets, and taking care of his future, and not a type of system where you are unsure. You don't know whether you can be attacked or you want to attack people. It doesn't make sense.
All right, Owe Lakinfa, spokesperson of the federal government's amnesty program. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you go. That's the show today. Sunrise really came to you live from Abuja this morning. My name is Chamberlain, so thank you for watching.
Thank you, Maokwe Ogun.
Many thanks, I'm Sulaiman. Later, see you again.
Some things have a way of sticking into your head.
Absolutely.
One is just being repeated, even though it had not always been the case.